Relationships are difficult, and I'm sure anyone watching this can agree. Now imagine having superhuman spider powers, fighting crime every night on the streets of New York City, while trying to provide for yourself working a normal job. Suddenly, difficult turns to borderline impossible. Despite this, Peter and MJ beat the odds and make it work. In this video, I will be analyzing their relationship through the Insomniac Spider-Man games. I will go through the ups, the downs, and how they eventually figure it out by being honest and trusting each other. First, I want to give some context before I get into the main storyline of the original Spider-Man 2018. While we don't have a ton of clear-cut info, the game gives quite a bit of details about the events that take place prior to the story of Game 1. Peter in this game is 23 years old, having great power and even greater responsibility for 8 years. That's different from most stories, where he is in high school or at most college. In this world, he is a college grad with a job at Dr. Octavius's lab. That means there is a lot of important context before the game to comb through. Thanks to the character information on her, we know Peter and MJ have been best friends since middle school, started dating during senior year of college, dated for 2 years, and haven't talked in 6 months. TLDR, they are both fresh out of college and fresh out of a breakup. Pretty early on though, Peter and MJ run into each other at the Fisk auction site being attacked by demons. It's worth stating so it is clear she knows Peter is Spider-Man. They catch dinner at Mick's and talk about what they saw, and there's quite a bit of tension. This leads MJ to ask the loaded question nobody wants to hear from their ex.
Do you remember why we broke up?
Luckily, Peter gets away to fight Shocker, and MJ calls him after seeing it on the news. She asks him to investigate the mask, and they are officially talking again.
So I can call you, like, whenever?
Yeah, whenever, whatever.
So I guess we're talking again. Cool.
This is the first sort of stage their relationship goes through in the game. They talk on phone calls and stuff happens, but the relationship is pretty stagnant while the story takes the focus. They are friendly and supportive of each other, but when Peter gets evicted and needs a place to stay, he doesn't feel comfortable asking to stay at her place. Things are good, but still a bit shaky. However, it's going in the right direction. Mary Jane invites him to the City Hall ceremony, where they agree to go for coffee or dinner together to work out this demon thing. Then, tragedy strikes as the demons bomb City Hall, taking out Jefferson Davis, Miles' dad, and completely incapacitating Peter after protecting MJ from the blast. This enters their relationship into a new stage. The City Hall bombing has Spider-Man focused on finding Lee, but he can't get help from the police because there isn't any evidence other than his word. This forces Peter and MJ to work together more closely. She does some research, finds out some leads for him, and goes to investigate. The dynamic is very natural, and they seem to transition to it pretty seamlessly, giving insight to the fact this is probably how things were before. After investigating Lee's office at Feast, they agree to dinner at MJ's. This cutscene is super important for a few reasons. For one, it showcases the best of this relationship. The history with the dumpling incident, the chemistry between the two in terms of working together and just normal banter, and MJ making Peter pick his clothes off the floor. But another thing it does super well is preview the cracks that will eventually start to break. The first time they met up again, MJ was aggressively investigative journaling at the auction house, and she did it again, this time with Tombstone. This is a pattern of behavior that comes to a head a couple missions later. While Peter is finding information about the secret Devil's Breath from Norman's work office, MJ is sneaking off into a Sable compound. He recognizes the danger of the situation and goes to keep watch. When he arrives, he sees MJ in the tent with a gun pointed at her. He reacts immediately, jumping into, as he sees it, save her. But then we see through the perspective of MJ, she was just talking to Charles Standish and wasn't in any immediate danger. This leads to a pretty big fight.
Hey, okay, another thing. Sorry, Charlie. You knock a man out, destroy my background research, and the best you've got is sorry, Charlie? Is everything a joke to you?
What? MJ? No, I screwed up. It was a tension breaker.
Tension breaker, right. You know this is exactly why we broke up.
I thought we broke up so you could focus on your career.
We broke up because you wouldn't stop treating me like a baby. Don't do this, MJ. Don't do that, MJ. Oh, that's too dangerous, MJ. I may not have super spider powers, but I'm not made out of glass.
You snuck into the middle of an armed military... You know what? Can we not do this right now, please? Did you learn anything about Dr. Michaels?
Fine. Michaels is in the Bowery somewhere. Sable's moving him tomorrow at noon.
Awesome. Anything else? Was he saying something about Grand Central before I jumped in?
He was... No, it was nothing. Listen, I gotta go, Peter. Filing deadline.
I think it's important to showcase a nuanced perspective. For some players, it may seem irrational how MJ is acting. She was, as Peter was saying before he cut himself off, sneaking into an armed military base, full of guards willing to kill her. And we also don't know what would have happened if he didn't get involved. Maybe she sneaks out. Maybe she gets caught and talks her way out of it. Maybe she gets shot. However, it's important to understand we play the game as Spider-Man and therefore see things from his perspective and thus are inherently biased. MJ was just getting some important information that could be super helpful, not in any foreseeable danger, and Pete ruined that. And I think that's pretty fair to say he made a mistake. Luckily, MJ returns the favor right after. You saw it at the end of the call, but she decides to not tell him about what she heard about Grand Central and go there on her own.
Standish said the demons are looking for something at GCT.
While she didn't know what was going to happen, it turned out to be a huge mistake as the demons show up, arm the Devil's Breath, and keep her and many others as a hostage. This puts Spidey on the back foot and he has to rush over, arriving after all that has happened. They manage to work together though. Take out Lee and the demons, and most importantly, disarm the bioweapon without anybody getting hurt. It ended up working out, but her decision to not let him know she was showing up at Grand Central could have been catastrophic. She could have been killed or unable to text/communicate with him, leading to the bioweapon potentially being released and starting a citywide pandemic, and Lee may have gotten away. But this also showcases them at their best. Despite the circumstances around this interaction, they still managed to work together, put their differences aside, and work towards a greater good cause. They defeat the demons and Lee and get everybody safe. The situation at Grand Central is the impetus to one of my favorite moments in the game, and I'll just let it play out.
I'll get back to you as soon as I can.
Hey, it's me. Let me know when you want to talk. Texting isn't talking? No, not that kind of over! Please say no, please say no. Okay. And not okay. What is there to figure out? Oh, you think? Great.
When you play Spider-Man, you are there for the fights. The beating up random thugs, stealth takedowns, web gadgets, and of course, boss fights. But moments like this are truly what makes the game. It's impressive just how grounded this interaction feels. The fidgety anticipation waiting for her replies, the words he says out loud versus what he sends via text message. It is done so well, and at least for me, resonates. The outcome of the conversation is that MJ and Peter aren't talking anymore, at least for now. And it seems like a good time. Martin Lee is defeated and life seems to be returning to normal. That is until everything goes wrong. The universe decides to let Peter and MJ know why they should never take a quote-unquote break, because in that time, Otto turns evil, all the prisoners are let out of Rikers, Electro, Scorpion, Rhino, Vulture, and Lee are all freed from the raft, Peter gets his ass kicked and almost dies, and Otto releases the Devil's Breath. Talk about a worst case scenario. Except it isn't even done yet. After getting out of the hospital, Spider-Man goes to help Yuri with the police precincts under attack by Electro and Rhino. However, the Feast Center in Harlem is under attack by escapees. He gets a call from May, then Miles, and finally MJ to hurry his ass over there. When he arrives, May and Miles are trapped in the building on fire. He goes in to help, but can only do so much, and MJ helps them to safety. Then, wood falls on Peter, sending him straight down into the flames, before Miles miraculously grabs his web and MJ pulls him up. This is the healing moment the two needed. The craze and urgency of what happened causes them both to be honest and vulnerable with each other, both admitting fault and agreeing to be partners once again. Then is another evolution of the relationship. We see them call each other, not just about business, but about personal stuff. MJ calls Peter feeling nostalgic about a trip they took with Harry looking for pizza, and Pete knows what to say to comfort her. He does the same shortly after, asking for advice about Otto. This shows they are comfortable discussing hard and tough conversations with each other. While things seem to be better now, the mission at Norman's penthouse is where we see it. They need to find the lab where the cure is located. MJ makes the plan for her to sneak in, Peter agrees and is on standby. Unlike the other missions, they communicate and trust each other. So much so, MJ literally jumps off a building, putting her life in his hands as he swings in and saves her. She fills him in on what she learned about Lee, Otto, and Harry being sick. Peter starts to blame himself before she steps in. He then goes and tracks down the cure, defeats Lee again, but this time Otto steps in and nearly kills him, taking the cure and Norman. He is rushed into Feast, where they just try to do their best to take care of him. As soon as he is able to, he gets up, and MJ takes him to see May, who doesn't have much time. He gets vulnerable again with her, not knowing if he can beat Otto. She is able to say the right things and get him up and motivated once again to try and defeat Octavius one last time. He does so, using MJ's advice of trying to beat him with his mind instead of just his fists, and he defeats Octavius and cures the city, but ultimately loses Aunt May. The end of the game flashes forward a little bit, with them both sitting at the table in the restaurant again. Peter doesn't have a place to stay, but this time MJ offers him to stay with her for a little bit, and they share their first kiss on screen. The first game sets up and develops Peter and MJ's relationship. It starts with no communication, then teamwork with business, then a fight, then more reconciliation, then working together to save the city, and finally them being back together as a couple. Most importantly, the game shows that when they work together, they can take down anything. That mission at Norman's penthouse was so crucial. With the information about where the lab was, Peter was able to get a jump on where the cure was being held and was able to try and help as quickly as possible. Even though it didn't end up working, their teamwork is a testament to how far they can get together. They work together, but we never saw them together in a relationship, which sets the stage for the DLC. The DLC is short and sweet, but especially sweet when it comes to Peter and MJ. They are full-blown working together again, with fun energy, flirtatious jokes, and full cooperation. MJ sort of takes the role of Yuri from the main story, being the person Peter will talk to during a mission. The plot also poses a unique challenge to their relationship, including Black Cat. She tells Peter during a run-in that she's for Hammerhead because he stole her son. This creates some more problems.
And there's something else. There's this thing, probably not a big thing, but it could be a thing. A little, maybe a big thing.
Please say a sentence that doesn't include the word thing.
Okay. The reason Felicia's working for Hammerhead is because he took her son.
Huh. I didn't know she had a son. Well, certainly sounds like something Hammerhead would do.
There's this other thing. You know that she and I dated for a while.
Yeah, so? Oh, are you serious?
I mean, I don't know for sure, but it's possible.
Ew. Ugh. I need to hang up now.
Since her introduction in the first mission, there has been an underlying sort of tension and maybe jealousy between Peter and MJ. It hasn't stopped them from working together, but this revelation makes things even trickier.
What do I do if the kid looks like Peter? Stop, MJ, just stop.
They both do their best to try and help Black Cat, but it is revealed at the end she played him all along. Hammerhead never kidnapped her son, she just wanted the drives for herself. She appears to die at her penthouse, which leads to another Peter-MJ dinner conversation, where they discuss the real idea of Pete being a dad, bonding despite their tragic end. Later, in the final Silver Sable DLC, we get a little more progression of MJ's character. She researches Sable's home country Symkaria and is moved by the civil war they are having there. Seeing nobody reporting on it, she decides it is too important to not be covered and goes to head over to Symkaria, and Peter later joins her during the events of Miles Morales. MJ sounds passionate about what is going on there, and despite the danger of it, and the fact that she is planning to leave while Hammerhead is still at large, he supports her. This is an important moment that shows their growth.
Spoken like a true hero. But the thought of you heading into a war zone, it worries me.
Do you trust me?
You know I do.
Then we're good. I gotta go home and pack. I'll call you tomorrow when I get there. I love you.
I love you too.
Things start shaky for the couple in Spider-Man 2. Don't get me wrong, they both very much love each other and have great chemistry, but there are some deeper issues going on. Because of the opening Sandman attack, Peter gets fired from his school job. It seems like since Otto, he hasn't had a stable career since. This isn't helped by the high mortgage rate on May's house, which he has since moved into. On top of that, MJ's career future is uncertain. After that trip to Symkaria, she wrote a book about it, and
I sold 14 copies.
now, Jonah has taken back over the Bugle, making things complicated for her. Her pursuit of truth conflicts with Jonah's goal of controversy and attention. On top of all that, Peter wants MJ to move in, but she is unwilling, saying she needs to live close to the city.
Moving in?
We talked about this. I need to be in the city, close to where the action is.
This is reading in between the lines, but I think this is an excuse. One thing I think back to is this in Spider-Man 1.
When MJ and I applied for this lease, I thought we'd move in together. Instead, we broke up. I can be pretty oblivious sometimes.
Even though things are going very well between them, there is a lack of commitment. All of these issues are ones that are real and exist, but are seldom acknowledged between the both of them. Things turn positive though when Harry appears at their door, their childhood friend reunited. Harry talks to Peter about his new project, the Emily May Foundation, and asks him to join. This means Peter will have a well-paying job and also get to help people in the process. They all go to Coney Island together, where Peter and MJ share a beautiful moment on the Ferris wheel.
You look really happy.
It's funny. Harry's getting a second chance, but I feel like I'm getting one too.
You two are gonna make a hell of a team.
Hey, I'll come up with something. You always do.
Thanks.
Sure. And hey, if you need some help from your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, I'd say we make a hell of a team too. Even if I do forget the champagne.
Next time.
Harry then saves Spider-Man when the hunters show up, and unmasked, Peter has a conversation with Harry on the roof. They're about to start this new business together, and Harry now knows Peter is Spider-Man, giving him flexibility with his job, and understanding that he will have to leave at a moment's notice. All this good fortune is in contrast to Mary Jane, whose article is not picked by Jonah, and increasing pressure is put on her to find a story he will put on the front page. Dr. Connors disappears, so MJ searches at his house and kidnaps herself to the hunter base in an old zoo. Her phone is lost, making her unable to communicate with Peter, but is able to inform him and Harry of her location with a phone she found, but right after it dies. Eventually they show up and try to fend off the hunters while Connors finds a cure. He is unsuccessful and begins to transform into the lizard. Craven is there and Peter flies in to protect MJ, and then MJ walks with Peter, who apologizes for being so busy, sensing he is about to die. Finally, after a while, he collapses on the ground. Harry rushes over and looks in horror as the life slowly fades from Peter Parker. His eyes close, with the only consolation being his two friends are there with him as he dies. However, the cure Harry got from Norman that has given him powers goes to his dying friend, and he is revived, energized, and ready to fight despite just being dead a moment ago, defeating the hunters with ease. This section of the game is where we get into the really juicy stuff. The symbiote is great at creating conflict between Peter and other characters. Mary Jane is of course the closest to him and therefore the most interesting to analyze. At the start, there isn't any discernible change in Peter. He maybe is a little more confident, but big changes don't come until the lizard sequence. Doc Connors has overseen the suit for Harry. Without the suit, Harry is dying. This makes finding the lizard and curing him very important to Peter. He also resents the hunters and Craven for doing this to Connors, forcing him to become a monster. He tracks the lizard down to a fish market with Miles' help, but he gets away. By this point, the change in behavior is very apparent.
You sure? He's got big teeth. So do I.
Right after this is the first interaction we see between this new version of Peter and MJ, and she is noticeably taken aback.
Miles was off his game. We almost had Lizard.
I'm sure he was just trying to help.
Sometimes it's just easier to do things myself.
Hey, that's not fair, Pete. We're a team.
We just really need Connors right now. For Harry.
Okay. Let me know when you find him.
He continues to pursue the lizard and finds Connor's underground Oscorp lab. He then fights the lizard there, who escapes up through the museum and runs through the streets of New York. Eventually, Peter is able to cure him after a path of destruction is left behind. They meet in the lab, where Connors informs Spidey he needs to destroy the symbiote because it's too dangerous. In response, he says,
Destroy us?
Then is this call with MJ.
MJ, I'm glad you called. How you doing?
Good. Storing some more boxes at the house. Just checked on Harry. But how are you? I saw the news about the lizard chase.
I'm great. Connors is cured, the suit's still going strong, and apparently is called a symbiote. Oh, and it's an alien. Which is pretty nuts, right?
Wait, what? You don't sound concerned.
I'm a little concerned, but I also couldn't have stopped Connors without it.
Peter, the two of you tore through half the city. Like, did you see what you did to the museum? I'm honestly surprised nobody got killed.
I'm not. And you know I had to cure him somehow. I mean, should I have just let him keep destroying things on his own?
That's not the... I'm gonna work here for the rest of the night. My muse for a new Jonah-proof article has finally struck. Maybe I'll have something to show you if you come back later.
What's gotten into her? Must be deadline stress.
I've gone back and forth about how I want to cover this part. On my first playthrough, I felt like MJ was acting out of bad faith. Yes, Peter destroyed a lot of the city, but like he said, he had to stop the lizard somehow. This led me to, in my initial ideas phase, have the section be about how the game acts like the symbiote is bad, but doesn't back it up. After my second playthrough though, I disagree with my past self and actually think it's a testament to how well the symbiote is handled. What Peter said is true. He had to stop the lizard. But what MJ is picking up on is not what he is saying, but how he is saying it. It's not that he destroyed a lot of the city to take down Connors. It's the fact that after that, he sounds happy about it. Pete says he is doing great and has almost a whimsy in his voice when discussing the symbiote being an alien. And that's what MJ responds with. He doesn't sound concerned that lives were at risk or that it's an alien. It shows how strong the writing is, making the player, or at least me, sympathize with Peter in this moment. He even chalks it up to deadline stress on how she's acting, dismissing her real concerns and feelings. After After a while, he decides to head back to May's house to get some rest. MJ asks him to read her article, but he is too tired and just goes to bed. Right after that, the hunters come and attack. MJ goes to wake Pete up, but he is gone. Through the preceding MJ mission, you are trying to catch back up to him. We know something is definitely off because he is not talking to her or protecting her from the hunters. She calls Miles to help out, and when he gets over there, Pete is not responding to him and even seemingly attacks him. MJ races over on her bike, and Miles traps her in the tunnel with Peter, or whatever he has become. Eventually, she catches up to him and he is asleep and passed out on the ground. Miles is trying to keep the hunters at bay outside, but is tricked and knocked out himself. The hunters begin shooting at the rubble, blocking the tunnel to get inside. They are after Spider-Man. MJ senses the danger and urgency of the situation and gives an electrical shock to the unconscious Peter. Then is this moment.
MJ.
The monster she has just awoken chases her down the tunnel violently, attempting to get to her, and she is barely able to slip away and escape. The hunters leave without Spider-Man Pete, but with Spider-Man Miles Morales. Pete wakes up on a random bench like nothing happened, with no recollection of the night before. He heads over to Harry's and sees a story MJ posted on his way in. She writes, quote, "What's up with Spider-Man? Reports are flooding in about the city's veteran web crawler acting very un-Spider-Man. Reckless property damage, violent outburst. Is he causing more harm than good?" Unquote. He enters Harry's apartment and is met by MJ. She shows concern for how he has changed.
That suit is changing you.
After raising his voice at Harry, she grabs her stun gun and confronts him.
I saw your story.
I tried to tell you about that.
Yeah, but you didn't, did you?
I can't lose this job,
Your
Pete.
job is to write the truth.
I did.
The truth is, I'm the hero here, not you.
Obviously, so far in his time with the symbiote, Peter has made a lot of mistakes. He blames Miles for the lizard initially getting away, has a noticeable lack of remorse about the damage he is causing, and finally tried to kill MJ in the tunnel. However, this is a mistake by MJ. The symbiote has a way to twist Peter's mind in order to accomplish its goals. For example, initially Peter's focus was curing the lizard so he could remove the suit and give it back to Harry. After curing him, the goalpost shifted. Now the suit he saw as a net benefit to the world because it allows him to be a better Spider-Man, and in that way, saves more lives than just Harry's. In this instance, the suit does not distort his mind in any way. This is a betrayal by MJ. She wrote this article and published it without telling him, and the contents of it are directly insulting his character as Spider-Man. Yes, she might get fired and he has been acting differently, but that does not justify this betrayal. Alongside that, her confrontation here is not great. She says that he is changing without supporting it, and when he raises his voice, she immediately grabs a weapon. This reaction is justified because of how he acted the night before, but he has no knowledge of that. MJ made a selfish decision. In a time where Peter needs support from those around him because of how the symbiote is changing his mind, Harry and MJ both turn their back on him. We can understand why they do this. Harry is dying and is most certainly having his own withdrawal symptoms. MJ is about to get fired and was attacked by Peter the night before. But instead of the trust they built in the last game, MJ chooses to go behind his back and betray that trust. This does nothing but further push him into the void he is already being consumed with. Peter and MJ don't speak again for a while, in terms of story events at least. He goes to find Miles, Miles fights Lee, Pete fights Kraven, Miles fights Pete, and ultimately he gets the symbiote off of him and into a secure container. And the first person he calls is Dr. Connors, but that makes sense. The second person is MJ. He apologizes for how he has acted and tells her he's getting the symbiote to Connors in his lab. Harry goes full Venom, and after helping Miles with some stuff, Pete decides to check up with MJ again. She got promoted to editor of the Bugle, and Pete is happy for her. But then Harry shows up at the door and he races off to meet him. After a conversation that is a conversation in the same way being held at gunpoint is, Harry turns MJ into a symbiote. What follows is Peter and MJ's most important conversation they have had. The symbiote lets out the darkest thoughts MJ has kept hidden during this fight. Remember back to the rooftop conversation in the first game.
It's just hard being the one who always gets saved, you know? Sometimes I want to do the saving.
I'm sorry I made you feel like you couldn't. Still partners?
Always.
Because of Peter's superpowers and a role as Spider-Man, MJ feels insecure about her value. Every day, Pete goes out and puts his own life in danger to save people. That sacrifice makes MJ feel pressured to keep up on her end of the bargain. She understands that other aspects of his life aren't given enough attention, and she feels the need to sacrifice herself to keep stability. She doesn't care for her job with the Bugle, but it's a consistent paycheck. And despite her sacrifices, she still feels like a sidekick in Peter's life. Finally, he is able to get through by saying this.
Jake Watson, you want the truth?
She is able to get the symbiote off, and they are able to reconnect for the first time in a long time. Peter is free from it, and so is she, and they both have a new perspective on things. She quits her Bugle job, now understanding it is not what she wanted. Spidey heads off to help Miles at City Hall. There, Miles and Lee have to go inside Peter's mind to fully eradicate the symbiote. They do, and he is freed from it. After, MJ calls him.
And Pete, just wanted to let you know, I got my byline pulled off that article. And gave my landlord notice.
Does that mean?
It means if the world is gonna get turned into an alien wasteland, there's no one I'd rather be gooed up with than you.
Aw, the feeling's mutual.
All the chaos has once again brought Pete and MJ together. She gets her name off the article she wrote about him, showing remorse for it, and then decides to finally move in. Harry turned Venom has done a number on the city. Hundreds of people are turned into symbiote monsters, with tendrils from it everywhere. To stop this, Miles, Pete, and MJ meet up in May's house to create a plan. This is a full circle moment for their relationship. Peter doesn't even question MJ's role despite the danger. He understands the circumstances and has full trust in her. MJ has maybe the most important job out of all of them in this operation. She has to grab the meteorite, giving the whole thing power. This means venturing into the cave full of symbiotes by herself. It takes everything out of everyone, but they destroy the rock and free New York from the hands of the symbiote. Flash forward, MJ has moved in with Peter at Aunt May's house. She has a podcast now because everyone has a podcast, but jokes aside, she seems happy doing it. Peter takes her outside to the garage, showing her how he has kept the remnants of the Emily May Foundation. He gets a notification of someone needing help, but ignores it and continues to be in the moment with her. Miles exits the house and asks him if he is ready to go. With MJ's support, he is able to muster his way into saying he wants to step back from his role as Spider-Man. Miles reassures him and heads off, and the two of them, Peter and MJ, share a kiss. It's amazing to see how far they have come and how well written their arc is. Despite the chaos that is their life, they manage at the end of the game to be happy, and they couldn't have done it without each other. These games teach that through honesty and trust, love can overcome even the most crazy circumstances. And that is a pretty awesome undertone in a game about Spider-Man. And as always, remember to be yourself.